Hello everyone, welcome back to a brand new video of Just Another Guy on the Internet. In today's video of Outlast week, let's talk about the construction of Mountain Massive Asylum. Now we all know that Mountain Massive Asylum opened in 1967. However, certain documents in the game suggest that a Mountain Massive mental hospital was built in the area and operating years prior to this point. Which could mean one of two things. Either that there was a original building and it was torn down and then rebuilt into what we see today, or that the original building was expanded into what we now see. Now I'm curious to know if this original building looked anything or resembled anything like the building that we see in the original Outlast trailer. The trailer released about a year before the game's release, and it shows a much different Mount Massive Asylum. But of course, this building isn't too different from the final product. For example, it does have some parts that resemble the wards, the hospital, and it also has the prison area. But and even the wall coverings are the exact same ones found in some of the found in rooms in the male wards, such as the laundry room and some of the more bath-like areas on the main level. And also there's a pink version of the tile found in a couple of places in the female ward. So, very curious to know if this is what the Red Barrels originally had. It was to make the asylum look much more like the Richardson Olmsted complex. As we saw in the very first photo, Mount Massive Asylum looked a lot more like it than what it does in the final product. Now, I will be making a video explaining the differences between Mount Massive and the Richardson Olmsted, so head on over to that if you want to learn more about it. But anyway, back to construction. So how far back was Mount Massive Hospital built and established? Well, the earliest date in any of the documents is 1952, which is when Shirley Pierce was admitted. So it must have been built sometime before then. The late 40s or the early 50s seems like a good guess. Especially considering that Murkoff was around back then, because we all know that the asylum was reopened in 2009 after being abandoned in 1971. That when it was reopened by Murkoff, but Murkoff were probably the original owners as well back in the 50s and 60s when it first opened. In the Switch trailer, it does show Murkoff being around since at least as early as 1938. So Murkoff has been around for a while, and they were probably the original owners of the asylum. So yeah, I would guess that all of the sections afterwards, the current ones, were built pretty much the same time. They have like the same style. So when I first got into Outlast, I always imagined that all the sections were built at different times, but it doesn't seem that way. As you look at the admin block, male ward and female ward, prison, hospital, they all have pretty much the same style. Although the admin block does look in much better condition than some of the other sections. It doesn't have the cracks in the walls, it even has vending machines, pretty modern equipment. So, and that's just a result of it being kept up since it's the employees area. Male ward also doesn't look too bad. It also looks like it went through some renovations. It has different floors, much more modern looking floors. The female ward, it looks pretty bad because Murkoff never found a use for it since they didn't have any women staff or patients, so it was left to it was just abandoned, so they never used it when they reopened it, and that's the reason it looks the way it is. So yeah, the prison block, it looks a little bit different than the wards, but that's just because it has a different purpose. It's meant to keep the violent patients in. But it does have the same styles as well. It has the arches, the same windows and doors. It does have the unique iron bars, but that's just because it's a prison. It also has a little bit of damage on the walls, crack paint. But it does have modern stuff as well. It has the new linoleum floors, and it also has the decontamination chambers, which weren't part of the original design back in the 50s and 60s. So, the hospital, it does look pretty modern, but if you strip away all of the plastic coverings and the equipment and whatnot, yeah, it looks like it was built at the same time as the aforementioned areas. The sewers as well, they were definitely had to be built first because it's all underground. And some of the areas of the sewers do look like the basements of the admin block, female ward, and male ward. Now with the recreation area, it is made out of brick, which is a different type of material. A lot of the other areas, they have stone, stone similar to the Richardson Olmsted complex, but for some reason the recreation area, drying ground, vocational block, and secret building, they use brick instead of stone, which is very interesting. I don't know why that is, and also the styles are a little bit different as well. The construction of the vocational block is much more simpler than the rest of the areas. Just bare white walls, wood, like the ceilings aren't even covered up, it's just bare exposed wood. So very interesting. So yeah, I guess that's really all I have to say. Sorry if this video seemed a little like I didn't know a whole lot. I tried to take all of the information that we have and kind of assemble the puzzle, and if there are some gaps, kind of try to fill in the gaps. So there's not really a whole lot of information on this subject and some others of Mount Massive. There's not a lot, if you notice, there's not a lot we really know about the asylum, with certain areas and in the past, what's this whole Mount Massive Mental Hospital and Preserve thing, what happened to all of the buildings, why were they torn down. So yeah, that's really all I have about it. So to sum up, sometime after 1945, construction of the Massive Preserve began. There were at least 13 buildings. They were probably small, one of them being the mental hospital, Mount Massive Mental Hospital, being one of the buildings. And during the 50s, there were a lot of experiments with MK Ultra. Of course, Murkoff was, doing all of that. And then sometime in the 60s, this was torn down, and a new facility was built. In 1967, we have Mount Massive Asylum, the new facility, open, but then closed down in 1971. And then abandoned for a bit until being reopened again in 2009. And then we see it in 2013. So, yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I will have a lot more information in the next video, so be on the lookout for that. Tomorrow is the final video of Outlast week. So, I'll see you there. Bye for now.